Well, hello and welcome to the Profit Express. I'm Tim Healy. And I'm inviting you to join me each and every Wednesday so you could be prepared to win the battle for business. Now, hey, I know you're out there hustling. You're closing deals. You're making money. You're turning prospects into profits. So I got to make it worth your while. That's why I have on the kind of guests that you can listen, learn, and earn from. Today's guest, as you know, will be no exception. So thank you so much for being on board. Thank you for sharing some of your time today. Now, we're talking about winning the battle for business. When I started out Healy Success Solutions as a sales performance coach, there really was no thing called social media, and I know I'm dating myself. I wish there were. In particular, LinkedIn. To me, having had LinkedIn when I started my business would have made things infinitely easier. Now, here's the interesting thing. I've been on LinkedIn for, honestly, I don't even know how many years I've been on LinkedIn. And I'm embarrassed to say I'm going to have a confession on the Profit Express. I'm still scratching the surface as to how I could really, unleash the power that is LinkedIn. But here's the good news. I have brought on today's guest, her if you're on the local scene, Beth Granger of Beth Granger Consulting, speaker, trainer, consultant. And she is the absolute go-to source for LinkedIn here on the island. I don't want to undersell her. Probably, I'll let her tell me when she's on in a second. But the reason I've known her for a number of years, we've had a number of conversations. She's helped me get better with LinkedIn, is because to me, you're the business owner, you're a professional, you're a manager. LinkedIn is just one of the greatest resources for prospecting, for connecting, recruiting, building relationships. But you have to do it the right way. And there's lots of wrong ways. So Beth is going to lead us into the direction and give us the tools that we need to unleash the power that is LinkedIn. So it's a pleasure to welcome aboard the Profit Express, Beth Granger. Beth,
thank you.
How are you today?
Great to be here.
Now, not too much pressure. To me, LinkedIn is a tool I wish I had when I started. You've helped me with a number of things over the years. I've gotten better. I've actually updated, as you know, you and I have chatted. I've updated the profile with a better headshot. I worked on one of your suggestions on the about section on the profile, and I love it. In the first person.
Yes.
It was so, all right, that's what I did. Now tell the listeners why. Why is that important?
So the about section, which is sort of halfway down your profile, if it's in third person, it sort of puts up a wall. It makes it seem like someone else wrote it, perhaps. But if it's in first person, it's starting a conversation. You're having a conversation with your reader, and they can respond to it more easily and feel more comfortable doing so.
And I'm glad I did it. I love the feeling, the sound of it. It's kind of like stodgy. I don't want to insult the attorneys out there. I know a lot of law firms do it. It's kind of stodgy. Not my feel, as a sales performance coach. So first person is great, but then let's go back to one of my favorite topics. And no matter how many times you talk about it, it's worth repeating. And that's the topic of what are some of the more egregious errors that people make, because even though it's been around for a while, even though you've been out there sharing the message, right, with your seminars, et cetera, people are still doing it. There's a lot of bad profiles out there. Yeah. So what are some of those really bad mistakes?
Well, there are kind of, in my mind, two types of mistakes. One is just because you don't know that it can be done a different way.
Right. Ignorance, right?
And then there are some things that are less about a profile and more about your behavior, which are just people following bad advice or they don't care.
Behavior. That's where I get the feeling we get into some interesting stories and topics.
Yes.
All right. So we talk about social media. And, obviously it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok. Are you on TikTok? I have to ask. Are you?
So I don't really do my own videos, but if I go on to watch a video, it might be 3 hours later when I come out.
So you go on for the entertainment purpose.
Absolutely.
And you fall in the rabbit hole.
Absolutely.
Okay. I haven't gotten there yet. So again, we're focusing on obviously LinkedIn today. and we're talking about, people might not know some of the tools to create a great profile, but then you talked about behavior. Now, that's what's very interesting to me. So here's a question for you. Are you noticing that the content on LinkedIn recently, like today,
Mhm.
is it becoming a little less professional? Are you starting to see people kind of veer into the political, veer into the personal?
So I would say the question is, what is professional?
Uh-huh.
And in fact, LinkedIn just did an ad campaign called I am professional or I am a professional.
Really? Okay.
Yes. So it's the idea that you can be you. And even this past 2 years that we've experienced,
Right.
being comfortable with seeing a kid run through the back of a Zoom meeting or
Right.
some that allowing people's personality and personal lives to be part of their professional persona.
Well, yeah, kind of, well, because it was the reality of COVID. It was
Yeah.
the reality of Zoom
Yeah.
that we have to embrace it and not be so.
Yeah.
So,
So to me, it's kind of like the conversations that people used to have in the office
mm-hmm,
that weren't necessarily about their specific work.
mm-hmm.
Those conversations are now happening on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So
Good,
I don't
good, good
mind.
or bad?
I like it.
Okay.
So people are talking about things, honest conversations about
Mhm.
all different topics.
Right.
It's still, are there some things where I wouldn't choose to share what some people share? Of course, but
Yeah.
it's up to every individual.
It's always personal.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, I guess, because of the pandemic, there's always some good to come out of tragedy, that we're getting a better sense of people's personalities.
Yes.
That's, you're
Yeah.
seeing that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now, all right. So let's get into what I think could be the fun topic. So the behaviors that are bad that you're seeing, that I'm sure you probably encounter every
Oh
day.
yeah. Oh yeah. So I have to update it because there are new things, but I did a webinar called 9 LinkedIn Landmines, things to not do that can hurt your reputation.
Right.
And my favorite one, you've all experienced it, I'm sure.
Right.
Hopefully you haven't done it. It's the connect and pitch,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I I don't get it. I don't Maybe it works for some people. I'm not sure why they do it. Are they given bad advice? Or, I don't know, but just don't do it.
I've gotten it twice in the last probably week or so where it's caught my attention. And listen, as a sales performance coach, there's, you could say running the numbers. And if people do it enough, it'll get some results, and even bad techniques work, right? But I think we could agree,
Yeah.
bad technique, right? Okay. So let's be a little more specific then. So it's a connect and pitch. So then what is that? What will that look like
What does
for
that look
somebody?
like?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's where somebody sends you a connection invite
Right.
that you don't know, and you accept the connection invite,
Mm-hmm.
and immediately you get a message
Mm-hmm.
through LinkedIn
Right.
trying to sell you something. In fact, there are some people that do the sales pitch in the connection invite.
Yeah.
They
That's
haven't earned the right.
no, not at all.
No. I always like to think, if you're not sure about your behavior, to
Mhm.
whether to say something, post something, do something, imagine you were in person. Would you do the same thing? If we just met at an event,
Right.
I wouldn't start selling you immediately. It just would be weird. You'd walk away.
Well, you see that's a great point because, you're giving the perspective as to how people, you know, how do you behave in person versus how do you behave online? And we know that online there's that veneer that people have this false confidence, that they'll say and do things that they wouldn't do
Right.
face to face.
Right.
And that, listen, this is a little bit off topic, but I'm getting nervous because, and it's great to have you in studio. We haven't been doing the face to face. I'm a little nervous that some of our skills are eroding with that.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so you mentioned the connect and pitch, horrible, bad. You're listening out there, don't do the connect and pitch. Beth Granger said no good. Now, you mentioned something that caught my attention, I think is very important. Somebody sends you a connection, an invitation to connect. What is your procedure on that? Do you just click yes? What do you do?
So everybody has to come up with their own philosophy of how they're going to do it.
Mhm,
Some
mhm.
people will connect with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Some people only connect with people they actually know already.
Okay.
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
So if it's someone I already know or have met, then yes. Then there are some that it's an immediate no, you just know not doing.
Right,
And
right,
then
right,
there are the
right.
in-betweens.
Okay.
And this is where you should say, do what I say, not what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I like to, if it's somebody I think, maybe this would be an interesting connection,
Right.
you can actually send a message first, reply back, and
Mm-hmm.
start a conversation to kind of vet them.
Okay.
And that's what I advise doing. Some people will do it the other way. They'll connect, and then if they get a pitch, they'll disconnect.
Right,
But
right.
I prefer to start that conversation first, and it's led to some really great conversations.
Well, and listen, you practice what you preach, because it was funny, and this really happened out there. This is not made up for the show. So I was improving, I have a big conference coming up. I was working on the website and of course my LinkedIn profile, and I was doing some snooping, some stalking on Beth's site, because that's who I want to emulate. And so maybe later that day or the next day, I get a message from Beth saying, "Hey Tim, how you doing? It's been a while. I noticed you were on the profile. What's going on?"
This is the tip that's led to so much business for me and for my clients, because people know that you can that the person can see, right, that you've been there.
So and so visited, right?
And I don't make it creepy, like, I saw you on my profile. What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
It's more just a reason to reconnect with somebody that we might not have spoken in a while.
Right.
So and those are the typical words that I use are, notice you stopped by my profile.
Right.
How are you? I don't say, why did you stop by? Or
Yeah, because that would be a bit aggressive. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I leave it to the person. And it could be nothing, could be wanted to see how to spell my name or something.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It allows you to reconnect. But there are times where someone says, "Oh, I meant to call you. So and so gave me your name about a gig."
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and talk about, I'm in a different end of selling, where I'm more of, the hand to hand, first point of contact to close. When you're in the supplementary side of it and the connecting side of it, safe to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but the technique is great because, and that's why you're doing what you're doing and why you're on the show, of course, is the way that you did it, the language that you used. And I've known you for a number of years now. That started the conversation between us. We went back and forth quite a bit that day. And then, I don't know, maybe it's a few days later, Mike, you know what? I want to have Beth back on the show again. So to me, it's just, I think, a hugely advantageous way that you don't get in traditional networking, at an event, to spark a conversation, to have a conversation that you normally wouldn't.
Exactly.
And so you've been doing it for years, your clients have been doing it, and it's direct results.
It's beautiful. It's because what happens is, an example, somebody looked at my profile. I reached out and he said, a woman named Susan, who we probably both know actually, gave me your name about LinkedIn training.
Mm-hmm.
What if Susan gave him 3 names? What if he got too busy and never called me? So that sped up the conversation that might not have happened or might have been interrupted or whatever it was.
Okay. So now we're getting into sales more than I thought. So this is very interesting. So what Beth just shared, which is, because of LinkedIn, right, is somebody refers you. And don't forget, you could be one of a few referrals. And if you wait for that person to call, which you never ever should do, always want to be proactive, but we don't always know we've been given as a referral. So when you have this gift of LinkedIn, pay attention to who's checking out their profile. Hey, how you doing? I noticed you, blah, 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 right? And then they say, oh, by the way, and you could have, if you connect with that person, they might, I'm not going to reach out to the other two. And that absolutely happens.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good stuff.
It's magic. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, this is just for the listeners of the Profit Express, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
So, we say, for websites, for social media, content is king. And, I'm a subject matter expert. Beth, you're a subject matter expert. Accountants are, attorneys are. So we have, in theory, plenty to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Plenty. You can write blog articles, talks, interviews. But yet you hear it. I've heard it, and you must hear it as much as I hear it. Well, I've got this profile. I don't know what to say. And you have to have relevant content with some level of consistency. Those are the absolute basics. So somebody reaches out to you, they've hired you, or you're at a seminar, and they ask you the content question. How do you guide them in the right way?
So the easiest way to start
Mm-hmm.
is to answer the questions, your frequently asked questions. What do people ask you?
Mm-hmm.
Answer that
Right.
as a post, as a video, as whatever kind of
Super
content you want.
easy.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Your origin story, why you started your business.
Frequently asked questions and the origin story.
Yeah.
Okay. Because again, if obviously the frequently asked questions, you're comfortable, you're getting them, they're speaking to your target market, obviously. The origin question. Let me go back. I'm like all over the place because I've gotten excited about this, and I've been spending a lot of time on LinkedIn recently. So we're talking about the profile. We talked about first person, which is a change I literally just made, and I love it. Right?
Yay.
Got updated last night. Check it out, by the way.
I will.
Please check it out. I'd love to get your take. So you do that as a change. We're talking about content. Real quick, I know we've talked about it before. How often should you be putting up valuable content?
To me, it's when you have something worthwhile to share. You don't want to add to noise. You don't want to share something just to share something.
Okay, so you're not saying definitively it has to like every Monday at 10 o'clock?
No.
Really?
No.
Okay. So it's more having something worthwhile.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, sort of minimum once a week. You can come up with something once a week.
Right. Yeah. Or you should get out of whatever your business is, you should get out of it if you can't come up with something once a week. Right.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So maybe this is an origin question for Beth Granger here on the Profit Express. So I've known you for a number of years. But when I start to think, it's going back now, Jesus. How did you, because you really are, correct me if I'm wrong, your real focus and specialty and passion is for LinkedIn.
Correct.
Not that I'm saying it's the only thing you do, but it's,
Yep.
So I'd be interested to know, how did you evolve into that specifically?
So I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I started my business without a business plan, just started taking projects of all different types.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from website project management to social media strategy,
Right.
implementation, all sorts of things. And one of my clients said, "Hey, Beth, our sales team's coming in next month.
Right.
Can you teach them how to use LinkedIn?" And I had two thoughts. Why would you need to be taught to use LinkedIn? And you're going to pay me to teach you to use LinkedIn? And it just led me down this path, and I love it.
So then, but that's the whole great thing. Accidental entrepreneur, and it's happened to me too. Clients give us ideas.
Yes, all the time.
Right?
It still happened just within the last 2 years. It's
Yeah.
happened to me.
Yeah. And you have to be open to it. It's like, and even, sometimes you have to pivot. Sometimes you're not 100% ready. You got to embrace it. Say yes, jump into the deep end. Wow, that's a great story. So then, now at that point, I don't know if you remember, were you a big user and proponent of LinkedIn?
So I had been, because I thought I was looking for a job when I started my business.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So yes, I was on there. I was on all social media as part of that.
Right.
And I've always had a component of training people in all the things that I've done.
Right. Okay.
Historically.
Okay.
So it just was a natural.
It was a natural. So is it that you just, because if you talk about all the social platforms, the LinkedIn, the Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, do you just personally or professionally enjoy LinkedIn more than the others?
I actually enjoy them all, but
Do
in
you?
different ways.
Okay. All right.
So TikTok for recipes and crazy dances.
Really? Now, how come I haven't seen any of your crazy dances?
Well, because I only watch them. I haven't
You
posted
haven't?
any of them.
You I think you really should.
I know.
We'll get back to that. So, all right. So when I was stalking and today's guest, Beth Granger Consulting, listen, if we're talking about winning the battle for business, if you're not optimizing LinkedIn, shame on you. It's one of the easiest ways to help win the battle for business. And that's why we have Beth here today. So here's a question, if you will. If while I was stalking your profile to get ideas, um, I had noticed on, I think it was the about section, and so I'm reading through it, and I think it was towards the end or at some point, I don't remember exactly where, you shared a few funny things. What were those funny things?
So the more personal things like that I like science fiction and wish I could time travel, or I forget what I said actually, but yeah.
Right. Um, so this is something funny. Is it a personal thing? Sharing something like that?
Yeah.
You know, should everybody do it?
If you're comfortable sharing a little something
Mhm.
about yourself, it's
Mhm.
a connection point. It's a conversation starter. In
Right.
fact, I'm beta testing a new feature for LinkedIn called LinkedIn Audio,
Mhm.
and someone else who's doing it invited me to his event
Mhm.
that was, I forget what he called it, but it was about diversity and inclusion
Mhm.
in Star Trek. So he knew that would right? By seeing on my profile
Mhm.
that I was interested in science fiction,
Right.
it made sense to invite me.
Right. But you see, you know what's so funny? I mean, you think of the content of my profile, your profile. It's important we have to talk about it so people know what we do. But it was that sentence or two at the end that you were sharing, Star Trek, crossword puzzles, all of that. Got me to laugh. I liked it. But then, more importantly, it got me to think, should I incorporate something along those lines?
So it's your comfort level.
Right.
I think it's a good idea. And
Mhm.
some people do something like, I enjoy living in somebody I know, I do enjoy living in California, hiking, and
Mhm.
me and my wife like
Right.
to cook brunch on Sundays or
Sure.
whatever.
Sure. Sure.
So, but it has to be something you're comfortable sharing.
Right. Right.
And it doesn't have to be super personal. It can be more about an interest.
Yeah. It's probably best not to be too personal. um, Now, we spoke earlier about the bad things. We talked about the behaviors,
Mhm.
which is really where people really mess up. Everybody knows they have to have a headshot and some of the basics, but we talked about behaviors and connecting and pitching. What are some others? Because that's you want to see people break some of these bad habits because it's costing them, and they don't even know it's costing them.
Yeah. So there's sort of a spectrum of bad behavior. Some are things that just right, like people don't realize that,
Right.
in my opinion anyway, they should have their about section in first person. Some of the other things include don't have typos. I mean, it's a little thing, but
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Don't
Sure.
have a typo. Have somebody proofread it
It's a
if you're not.
reflection, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, of course, I'm growing blank now. What are my other favorite ones?
Well, I know that and they're going to come back to you as we talk. So if you have, behavior is one, and obviously it's the connect and pitch, which annoys everybody, and that's kind of funny. It annoys you. It annoys me. It probably annoys just about everybody who receives it. But the people who do it don't look through that filter.
I know somebody who does it,
Oh, you do.
and we had a conversation. And I said, "What's with that?"
You're not going to out them here on the show.
No, I won't say their name. But what he said was he doesn't care. So the people who don't respond are not his clients, and he doesn't care. The people that do respond are his clients. So
Really?
it's like cold calling, I guess, but cold calling badly.
So that was this person's response. I
Mhm.
don't care.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now wow, I'd like to talk to this person. So, yes, I mean, so he's probably getting enough of a response that it warrants it, okay, so that's why he's continuing to do it. But what if he did something different and the response was better?
Yes, I know. You can lead a horse to water.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's only so much you can do. So, again, this is the Profit Express. Today's guest, Beth Granger. It's all about winning the battle for business. And you've got to be in tune with and optimizing and unleashing the power, or as Beth likes to say, unleashing the kraken of LinkedIn. I love that, by the way. Thank you. let's talk about. I've known you've talked about it. You've had some posts about it. You just mentioned it. LinkedIn Audio. What the heck is it?
New feature.
Okay.
So
Love
social,
new features. Yeah.
yes, social audio,
Okay.
right? Clubhouse, social audio, Twitter Spaces,
Mm-hmm.
social audio. It's LinkedIn's new feature
Okay.
where you can have audio conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wonderful and experimental right now. People are trying all different things, having different conversations.
Right.
And
So is it a beta or
it is
testing phase?
beta.
Okay.
So only people in the beta program can host an event, but anyone on the platform can join an event and be part of the conversation.
Okay.
They can raise their hand, be brought up to speak.
So it's just audio, no video.
Correct.
Okay.
For now.
For now.
There may be in the future, but
There may
right
be
now it's audio only.
just audio.
Mhm.
So and again, it's in the testing phase. How are people using it?
So I like to try to break things. So I've done all sorts of interesting things. I did a networking meeting sort of online
Okay.
where I brought people and I had them give their elevator pitch and then tell a story about what they do to show that telling a story is so much better than
Mm-hmm.
just their typical. And then I brought people up
Absolutely.
to do it themselves. I interviewed somebody on LinkedIn Live, which is the video
Sure.
feature.
Yeah.
And then I brought everybody who was watching over to an audio event for the Q&A.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
they could ask verbally their questions.
Well, okay. Now, wait. Say that one again. I want to make sure I understand it. So you do the LinkedIn Live, which is the video.
Right.
Now, when you're doing it weekly? Are you doing it?
I don't anymore. I
You
used to when I first did it. But
Okay.
yeah.
So when you're doing that, how do you incorporate? Because that was interesting, but I want to make sure I understood that. So you can do a LinkedIn Live, and then how do you incorporate the LinkedIn audio?
Yeah, it was a little complicated, I have to admit, because it's technically two separate events behind the scenes. And I had to have
Oh, okay.
put the link to the audio event in the chat
Okay.
so that people could click on that and then move over to the audio event. But it worked.
Okay.
People came. It was
All right.
great.
Well, like you said, you want to break things.
Yeah.
You don't want to test things
Yeah.
out. So, you have to have courage to do that.
Absolutely.
All right. So here's something I like to ask. Favorite snack food? Let's get behind the scenes with Beth Granger.
Snack food.
Favorite snack food?
Would I actually eat or would I wish I could eat?
Let's have fun with this. Not what you actually eat. I want to hear nuts and raisins. I mean, what's the favorite snack food? You're going to let your hair down. What would it be?
Actually, I really like mixed nuts.
Do you?
Give
Oh,
me
and that's funny. That's
almonds
the
and
thing I say.
salty and grease. So the
Salty.
combination
Okay.
of salt and grease.
What do you wash it down with?
Water.
Just water.
boring. Yeah.
That's not well, okay.
Yeah.
It's a favorite, so who
Yeah.
knows? All right. Because you kind of got me thinking with the whole thing of science fiction and the crossword puzzles. A little
I
bit.
should say dehydrated ice cream or something.
No, I like the greasy, salty mixed nuts.
Yeah.
So I had to ask. So completely off LinkedIn for a moment. You're an accident. You started as an accidental entrepreneur. You're very active on LinkedIn. You have a great reputation on the island. Everybody knows you as
Thank you.
as the source. Absolutely. If you could have a business conversation with any business leader, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a great question. And honestly, I feel like I could have a business conversation with any business leader because I could reach out to them on LinkedIn and see if I have a connection and get an invite.
That's a great answer, but come on, I'm gonna hold you to it. Great answer for LinkedIn, by the way.
Yeah.
I love the answer.
So
Who would it be?
I have no idea.
I caught you on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I know so many people who have started businesses and
Right.
have gotten their insights and
Right.
feedback. So I don't know if there's anybody that I don't know
Right.
that I
You're well
feel this
connected.
strong need to
All right. I'll let you
speak with.
think about it
Yeah.
and then post it on LinkedIn tomorrow
I
and
think I
reference
will.
me in the show. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. People can you have events coming up. I want because they're great resources that I want people to be aware of. What are they? How can they get in contact?
Yeah. So a lot of my events are private where a company or an organization brings me in. I am doing on the 16th a free talk for the Suffolk County SBDC.
Mhm.
So if you go to their website, you can sign up,
That's a
unleash the power of LinkedIn.
small business development council, right?
Correct.
They're
Or I
great.
forget what it stands for
I
exactly.
think
Small
that's
Business
it.
Development Center,
Yeah.
Development
S-
Corporation,
I
Development.
think it's center.
Okay.
It's a great resource, but okay. And then how can they follow you on social?
Well, of course, on LinkedIn, Beth Granger, no I in Granger.
Right.
Um, um, everywhere.
That's it.
Yeah.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Beth, thank you so much for being on board again today. I love the fact that you were here because of specifically LinkedIn. I was snooping. You reached out. We talked. We had a great conversation, which just proves everything that you're sharing works. And I say, hey, you know what? I'd love to have Beth back on. And here you are.
Yeah. Been
Awesome.
fun. Thanks for
Awesome.
having me back.
Awesome. And this is the Profit Express. Remember, each and every Wednesday, I'm downloading new episodes, just like the great one I had with Beth Granger of Beth Granger Consulting. And you can follow me in the show on Instagram at The Profit Express, on Twitter at Profit_Express. And always great thanks to our sponsors, the good friends at Corbett Public Relations, promoting and protecting businesses and brands for over 30 years. So please visit my friends at CorbettPR.com. And until next time, do one more thing that's going to get you one step closer to winning that battle for business. Until next time here on the Profit Express.